INEOS have not shied away from making unpopular decisions so far, clearly. Well, they better be ready to make themselves unpopular with some of this squad in January, because it is not a case of wanting anymore. They need to make a statement that reverberates through the club and to every player for Ruben Amorim. Let me explain what I think is the ideal January transfer window for United and what it would look like from a realistic perspective. The January transfer window is one where you don't particularly expect your club to do massive amounts of movement. And that is going to be the case for United this January. And the fact that we are skint does not make this an easy one, but we need to do something for Ruben Amorim. It's not a case of just sitting on our hands and going, oh, it's January, we can't do anything. I'm going to run through what I think genuinely are 3 realistic exits and 2 realistic signings that would leave United's squad in a stronger position. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. Just type it in. If you could name 1 realistic signing and 1 realistic exit, who would it be? You can let me know. Right, let's run through them. As I said, I think there are 3 realistic exits that can make a difference. I'll explain each one. And you won't be surprised to see that the first name on the list is Marcus Rashford. I've put there that in an ideal world, United will get a loan with an obligation of somewhere around 40 to 50 million pounds. I don't think that would happen. I think United might have to do a loan with an option. And I also think that United are going to have to be prepared to pay a third of Rashford's wages in order to facilitate a move happening. Because if we sit and refuse to loan him to anybody who doesn't pay his whole wages, Rashford's going to be staying. He hasn't been in 4 matchday squads. It's obvious that it's not going to work under Amorim. For a player of his stature to be left out of format, no. It's game over. So accept it, move on, accept the loss. And then, well, we can't reinvest that money in January, but I don't want any player at the club, and that includes Marcus Rashford, who doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to be part of it. All right? So he's number 1 on my list. And number 2, which might be a little bit controversial, is Christian Eriksen. He's going to be a free transfer in the summer. And I want United. I'm not saying that United should actively push Eriksen out the door, but almost like encourage him. Maybe whether it would be a swan song back at Ajax, whether it would be going to Saudi to get a last big payday, I don't quite know. But I feel like United could quite easily for the second half of the season replace the minutes from Eriksen inside the squad from Toby Collier, or if you want to go deeper into the academy. And I don't think the squad will be that much worse off, but we would have saved money. And while I don't care about the bottom line, I care about it when it impacts my ability to actually make signings, my club's ability to make signings. And that's why I'm saying Eriksen leaving on a free transfer in January. And this one I don't think is going to happen. Realistic, yeah. I don't think it will, but in an ideal world, I think United would find a club for Anthony. Same sort of premise as Rashford, a loan with an option or an obligation. I'm saying 20 to 30 million would probably be the max for Anthony. Cover a third of his wages if we need to. Replace him in the squad with Bendito Mantato, who I think would be an awesome replacement. Do I think the quality of our squad would go... Would the quality of our starting 11 go down if those 3 players left our club in January? I don't think it would. Would the quality of our squad go down? A tiny little bit, but not particularly, because you'd be replacing them with players from the academy. And I think overall, United's squad would be better. Better? Well, it depends on how Mantato and Collier does, but certainly not worse off. And given we are in a position where, like, ladies and gents, United is skint. I keep saying this so often, and it's completely true. But we have to make cuts with the players in the same way we're making cuts with every other aspect of our business, of our football club. Man, got to be talking like bloody INEOS now. Anyway, those 3, Rashford, Eriksen, and Anthony. And in terms of signings, I've broken it down into what I would say the 2 key positions in January if United are going to do any activity. Number 1, left wing back. And number 2, an attacker. Because you could say a centre forward if you wanted to, but you could also say an inside forward. I would say an attacker. And there's one standout option there. When it comes to the left wing back, I've got Alvaro Fernandez down there. We, of course, sold him to Benfica. We've got a buyback clause in the region of £15 million. And for me, looking at Alvaro Fernandez, it feels like a really low-risk, high-reward signing. The reason I'm saying that is if it doesn't work out with Alvaro Fernandez and we bring him back in and people were correct to have doubts about his ability, even though he worked in the Portuguese league, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work in the Premier League. Sure, I understand that. And if they are correct, those people, then we'll sell Alvaro Fernandez in the summer for more than we bring him back for. And that will be a permanent deal, and we won't be able to buy him back after that. Because of the age he is, I don't think we'd struggle with that at all. However, if Alvaro Fernandez is that guy, thrives in the Amorim system, improves our starting 11 straight away, then we have brought in somebody who massively improves the weakest point of our whole squadron, our left wing back, for 15 million. And he's 21. And he's from the academy. Tick, tick, tick. That, for me, is a low-risk, high-reward signing. If it doesn't work out, we've got a backup. We can just sell him and then sign someone else in the summer. But if it does work out, bingo. Value-wise, that'll be right there alongside the Mazraoui signing. So for me, it feels like a bit of a no-brainer. Of course, we've been linked with Nuno Mendes now. We're going to get linked with Alphonso Davies or Milos Kerkez, and all these ones that you could say that Alphonso Davies we could agree a pre-contract with, but he's going to demand like a 10, 15 probably mil signing on bonus. Kerkez is going to cost 40 million. Anthony Robinson from Fulham is going to cost 40 million north as well. Theo Hernandez from AC Milan. All these big, big numbers. They're just not realistic. And certainly not in January. Alvaro Fernandez for that price is. Now, second on the list will be United taking advantage of an opportunity. Dani Olmo. He was registered and he played for Barcelona in the first half of their season. But because, you know what Barcelona's like, pulling levers left, right and centre, trying to balance their books, which are just, I mean, we know our finances are bad. Somehow Barcelona's make them look worse. They have been rejected by La Liga in the court for trying to register him. They've got until the 31st of December to register him for the second half of the season. Now, if they don't manage to do that, United should be there offering Dani Olmo and Barcelona a no strings attached 6-month deal. Bring in Dani Olmo, who can definitely play in the inside forward positions. I wouldn't say he'd be the striker, but he'd be more of the inside forward and would thrive in it as well, by the way. In the short term, it improves our options. With minimal outlay, with no risk. We're not then attached to Dani Olmo in the summer. We give him a place to play for 6 months. We do Barcelona a favour in that sense. And it also does us a favour because it gives us something without having to really pay for it. Apart from wages, which ideally you would save by moving out Christian Eriksen. And overall, look, I would love to expect and hope for United to have a mega January transfer window. I don't think that's going to be realistic at all. I even think this is on the verge of the edge of not being realistic. But Alvaro Fernandez, imagine me saying that as United. No, sod that. It does feel realistic. Alvaro Fernandez on a permanent deal, 15 mil. Are there better options? Find me one. I'm sure there will be loads of options, by the way. We've got, of course, Diego Leon coming in from Paraguay, but that's in the summer. Let's see. And Dani Olmo for 6 months. How could United lose in that situation? If it doesn't work out for him, he's only here for 6 months. We tried. And then Rashford, Eriksen and Antony all leaving doesn't weaken our squad. And if you can confidently say that a player leaving doesn't weaken your squad, that player should be leaving. Just my opinion on what I would consider ideal. All right, they're the exits, they're the signings, and that's it overall. 5 deals that I think United can afford to do, most importantly, and B, leaves our squad in a better position for the second half of the season. Let me know what you think in the comments.